Business owners, executives, and entrepreneurs, get your pen and paper ready and tune in Sundays at 1 p.m. for Evolution Strategies, Business Sustainability and Growth Simplified. You must evolve to meet the challenges of today's marketplace. This is the only show in the Philly metro area that walks you step by step through success factors that make or break your brand. Want some free advice? Call in Sundays at 1 p.m. to talk to your host, Carolyn Lighty, and a panel of experts for Evolution Strategies, Business Sustainability and Growth Simplified.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this edition of Evolution Strategies. I'm your host, Carolyn Lighty. If you have a love or passion for something, then you are more likely to commit to it. If you're committed to it, then you can turn your passion into profit. But you must ensure that your passion addresses something that others want or need. When you focus on your passion and find a way to allow your passion to have a positive impact on others, you have the beginning of your winning formula. But then next you have to ask yourself a few questions. Have you mastered your craft? It isn't good enough just to have the passion, but you have to educate yourself and learn as much as you can about what it is that you want to do. Are your passions driven by profit, or just the fact that you just want to do something like a hobby? And do you know how to make money? Not everyone has the financial knowledge needed to price their products or services appropriately against what the market will bear. So while passion is key, making more money also means you may need to lower your living, meaning living below your means. You may need to ask for what you need to ask for what your product is worth. You need to make sure that you're pricing it appropriately. You need to invest and spend wisely. You need to know when to hire and how to hire good people or outsource services to professionals like a bookkeeping firm or an attorney or a CPA or a marketing firm. And then you need to read. I can't stress enough the importance of reading and seeking further education. So today, joining me to discuss this topic are two wonderful women. They are Dolores Waddell and Eunice Lafate of Lafate Gallery. Dolores is a business owner, and I discovered her through Eunice. So we're going to talk a little bit to Eunice first and talk to her about what it is that she does and how her passion drove her success. Good afternoon, Eunice.
Hi, Carolyn, and thank you very much for inviting me to this show. I was looking forward to it because this is the first time I'm actually doing a show with someone who is savvy about business as you are.
Wow. Well, thank you for the compliment. I like that. And then also we have Dolores Waddell. Her shop is called Fushions Taster's Choice. Is that right?
That's correct. Thank you, Carolyn.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Eunice, let's talk about you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about you. I know that you're from Jamaica initially.
Okay. I'm Eunice Lafate, retired educator, former banker. Oh. I'm a folk artist, a writer, a storyteller, and public speaker on folk art and culture.
So you said retired? That doesn't sound like you're retired.
I retired in 2011.
Wow. And you're still so very busy.
I keep a to-do list.
That's great. That's great. So what drove your passion for art? How did that begin with you?
That is a very interesting story. From the age 7, I was scribbling and doodling on the walls of my house. That was my first canvas. Mm-hmm. Developed a love for art. And then later on, when I went to college, I had to create charts for my students. So I would use my own talents to make my charts on cutting pictures.
Okay. And you said that you started by drawing on your walls. And did your mom appreciate that?
Not at all. But one of my sisters discovered my talent and she gave me a scrapbook.
Ah, so that way, did you have to clean the walls yourself?
Oh, yes.
Yes, because that happened with my daughter, who is also an artist. When she had plenty of paper, plenty of everything else, but her walls in her room were white. And I guess to her, that looked like a much bigger canvas. So instead of drawing on the papers that were all over the floor, she decided that the wall was more interesting. And when I came in and I saw it, because children always know when they do something wrong, right? So she gives you that look with the big eyes like, oh my gosh. And I got a pail and a bucket And she was only 4 years old, but I made her clean the walls. Now, of course, my mother thought that was like child abuse or whatever. It was cruelty to children. But guess what? She never did it again. But now she's an accomplished artist, and she's studying animation at Delaware College of Art and Design. So,
Wonderful.
so that's really
That is
great.
wonderful.
So when we talk about your passion, how long were you just kind of tinkling around with it, tinkering and
Well, after I graduated from college,
Mhm.
I taught art, even though I was not a trained art teacher.
Wow.
But I had the skills, and I was allowed to teach art.
Mm-hmm.
And then the students I taught that excelled so much, they became the champion in the island.
Oh.
And then I came to America,
Mm-hmm.
found the true love of my life,
Ah.
and I migrated here in 1983.
Okay.
For a while, I stopped painting. Approximately 8 years, I never touched a brush.
Okay.
And through charity, working at the Walnut Street YMCA,
Mm-hmm.
I was pressured actually to be the captain for the fundraiser. I told the person I didn't know how to raise money, but I would have, if I had a vision, I'd pray about it, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
And the vision was, that talent you have been sitting on, why don't you use it again? So I started painting, donated my work to the Walnut Street YMCA for a fundraiser, and out of that, it's now history. Out of that came a commission to
Mm-hmm.
do the cover for a popular magazine, Out and About.
Oh, very good.
And that placed my work in full view.
Yeah,
of
the
Delaware.
public. So then, did you get further commissions after that, or did you? Are you
Thereafter, I continued painting.
Mm-hmm.
I had to paint because working in corporate America at the time
Mhm.
was very stressful.
Mm.
And I would come home and take the stress out on my canvas, turn my music to Bob Marley, no woman, no cry, no woman, no cry. And then I would be painting.
I love it, and you sing too. See, that's great.
Well, I'm not a singer, but I love Bob Marley's
yes,
music.
yes. Well, yeah, because of the depth of what he's saying.
Yes,
you
and
know.
then then I was making good money. So I created this work and just created an inventory. I had no need or desire to sell the work.
Mm-hmm.
I kept on until someone tried to purchase a piece which I didn't want to part with.
Mm-hmm.
But I sold it. And a friend of mine said, you know you have to pay taxes. I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, if you sell and take a check or a
Then-
credit card, you
yeah.
have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Then she said, why don't you open a business?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can write off your expenses.
Right.
Thought it was a great idea. And she became my manager.
Okay.
She opened a business account for me, got a license for
Mhm.
me, set me up with credit card, and that's now history.
That's interesting. So,
That was 20 years.
20 years ago.
I just celebrated
Wow.
a 20-year retrospective in October.
Very
A
good.
very big event.
Congratulations. Wow, that is such a great story. And what's interesting about that is, again, you were going about your passion. You were just doing it and just pumping out all of
Yes.
these works. And then somebody wanted it because they
Then
saw it.
now it's a full-fledged business, 20
Yes.
years old.
Wow, good for you. Fantastic. Let's turn to Dolores, who's sitting over there patiently. Dolores, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from. Did you grow up here? Is this where you're from?
Sure, Carolyn. No, I am originally from Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh,
On one small state to another. That's when I had to get to a bigger state of Delaware, so that's what brought me here.
just a little bigger.
Just a little bit bigger. But I've been here for the last 16 years, and I am the new proud owner of Fushions Taster's Choice, which is the first and only olive oil tasting center in the state of Delaware.
Wow, this is so wonderful. So when you say new, how long has the business been open?
2 months.
2 months.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a 20-year-old veteran and then someone who's caught the bug just more recently.
Yes, and
That's
I'm
good.
here to learn everything I can from the two of you.
And she has my art in her business, so we partner.
Oh, and I'm always talking about collaboration and how important that is today, especially
Yes.
for small business owners.
Yes,
if we
definitely.
look around, we can find others who are in the same position that we're in that have something to offer to us and to help us grow as well.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for, partnering up with others who can help me through it. Because as a new business owner, I am still in the learning stages. So
What was your background prior
Well,
to doing this?
my background had absolutely nothing to do with olive oil. I've been a part of corporate America, and as corporate America has changed over time, I too had to evolve. So I started off in telecommunications. So the telecommunications industry, from Ma Bell all the way out to the large companies, small and this right
I
back.
have to stop you there because you don't look old enough to know anything about Ma Bell.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's the olive oil.
Well, good. There you go.
But yeah, telecommunications, banking, and then working with youth. So my passion was going through corporate America and learning so much, starting off basically as a customer service rep, all the way up to corporate office and manager. I learned a lot, and I really, really wanted to get back to the youth. So that's one of the reasons I ended up here in Delaware. Basically, I came down here to start a training department. I was a corporate trainer for telecommunications, went into banking. The banking industry also changed somewhat, and then working with the youth, where my passion there was giving back everything that I've learned and preparing them so I could retire gracefully.
So when you talk about your work with the youth, what kind of training were you doing with them? What were you imparting to them based on your experience in corporate America?
Just how to handle themselves, how to address conflict, handle conflict, your proper work attire, your proper attitude, the things that get you further in life, not just necessarily your skill set, but the people side of it.
Very important. And, it's unfortunate that a lot of our youth are not necessarily getting that in the home environment.
Very true.
And if they don't attend church, or if they do, they may not be getting it there. So exposing them to those nuances that are really key if you're really going to be able to make it anywhere in life is really important. And I applaud you for doing that.
Oh, thank you.
I know that you both work with youth.
Let me chime in on that.
Mm-hmm.
I was a trainer too. I was a career preparation specialist.
Okay.
My job was to groom them for the workplace.
Okay.
And had a very interesting 6 years working with Job Corps.
So in the grooming that you do for the workplace, does that translate over to being in business for yourself?
There you go. I established an arts club.
Okay.
And I encourage them to use their talents to make what I consider to be clean money. So if they were great with art, then go ahead, sketch. And I had students who were able to earn money from their art.
Yeah, that's very good. In terms of how they present themselves, did you go into that, Dolores, with how you present yourself in terms of physical appearance as well?
Physical appearance and just the general, when you enter into a room, how you should address an individual. Good morning, good afternoon, hello, goodbye. Your basic common courtesies. And
That's
the
really
beautiful thing about it, like you say, a lot of our youth are really not used to that. It was a beautiful thing to see the success once they've completed and they went out into the working world, and they'd come back and they'd give me all these wonderful stories about how they utilize those skill sets in the real workforce, and thinking, okay, well, this is a school type environment. I don't really need to do that. Yes, you do. A simple thing as to don't just walk into my office, knock on my door and wait for me to say, come in.
Very good. And I think that does translate very well to becoming an entrepreneur, because I see an awful lot of people that have the drive, determination, but they kind of forget their own packaging. If I'm selling a product, I know that I have to have certain product packaging in order for that product to be appealing. Well, your body, your makeup, your appearance is also part of that packaging, and a lot of people forget about that too.
That's true.
Yeah. So, Dolores, tell me, you just started this, you opened your business two months ago. Well,
Yes,
2 months ago.
Black Friday was my first day.
Okay. And where's the business located?
I am located at the Tallyville Center, 3629 Silverside Road. So in the shopping center right off of Concord Pike, there's Bon Appetit is in there. They work well with me too, as one small business to another. So they're great. They also have my products in there. So if someone wants to taste it with their breads, so that's a great collaboration.
Very, very good. Very good. That's good. So why olive oil?
Funny story. Like I said, Rhode Island is my home, and maybe about 2 Christmases ago, I went back home to visit, and it was the holiday times. And my old next door neighbor says, oh, there's this new store up the street. It's an olive oil store. So we're gathering friends. We're still doing Christmas shopping, and we're getting together to go out and eat. So we said, okay, we'll stop by this olive oil store, wow, we were really so excited.
Yeah, until you got there.
Well, we really weren't excited. I was really being sarcastic. But
yes, I understand.
when we got
because you don't
there,
think about it.
you really don't.
Amazing. I've seen similar stores out of this area, so I'm happy and proud that you opened one here in Delaware for us.
Great.
But I know there are several in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And when I walked into the shop, it was every flavor, every fusion, which is a great name for what you're calling yours, that you can think of. There were just walls and walls of this stuff. I could not understand.
And the product is
amazing.
awesome.
Well, the wonderful thing, like I was saying, when we walked into the store, I came out 2 hours later with 2 bags full of olive oil and balsamic vinegar and pourers and spouts and all these wonderful things, and went out to dinner and met other folks. It was like, well, where have you been? Oh, this wonderful store down the street. So I brought the product back here and I used it in my cooking as I'm learning how to cook a little bit more and more healthier. And I used it, and when I ran out, I used some things I had around the house, some olive oil, some vinegars, and I went to the store. The quality just was not there.
Different.
So it is totally different. And as people come into my establishment, they're surprised. They're like, who knew? And that's one of the reasons why I am involved, is like I would like to share that word, that there are health benefits to it. And there's so much more to olive oil than just picking something up off of a shelf.
Yeah. That's very good. And we'll get to some of those health benefits. But right now we're going to take our first commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
Welcome to Wilmington, Delaware. At Preservation Initiatives, we bring beautiful lofts to you. The recently renovated lofts at 400 Market Street are a must-see, a part of registered National Historic District. Featuring spacious floor plans, custom glass windows, solid surface countertops, stainless steel appliances, custom lighting, wood flooring, large closets, pocket doors, sunny interiors, high ceilings plus beautifully detailed trim molding. Enjoy the sights, sounds, and tastes of Market Street. Just a short walk from the Wilmington riverfront, featuring family-friendly places to enjoy, with plenty of restaurants, entertainment, and other small-town conveniences. Wilmington, Delaware, in the middle of it all. Reserve today. Preservation Initiatives. Urban revitalization through historic preservation.
Preservation Initiatives is a wonderful, wonderful gem that we have here in the city of Wilmington. Don McGinley, its founder, has been developing historic properties since 1979. He's had properties in Boston, Miami, Philly, and now Wilmington. If you want to contact Preservation Initiatives in reference to any of the residential or commercial properties, please call them at 302-543-7565. That's 302-543-7565.
You can't. Do those magic words motivate you? Has anyone ever told you that you can't? You can't be an entrepreneur. You can't be a business owner. You don't have what it takes. How many successful businesses started without incorporating? I'm John Williams, the president of Inc. Now. For 39 years, Inc. Now has been incorporating first-time entrepreneurs just like you. Over 15,000 companies, from mom-and-pop businesses to worldwide enterprises. IncNow.com, based in Delaware, can have you incorporated in only a few minutes for $298. Inc. Now makes starting your LLC easy. Learn more about what Inc. Now can do for you. On the web, visit incnow.com. That's incnow.com. What do you have to lose? If you think you can't be an entrepreneur, then don't. I'm here to tell you, you can. Plant a seed. Inc. Now. Dreamers wanted.
Business owners, executives, and entrepreneurs, get your pen and paper ready and tune in Sundays at 1 p.m. for Evolution Strategies, Business Sustainability and Growth Simplified. You must evolve to meet the challenges of today's marketplace. This is the only show in the Philly metro area that walks you step by step through success factors that make or break your brand. Want some free advice? Call in Sundays at 1 p.m. to talk to your host, Carolyn Lighty, and a panel of experts for Evolution Strategies, Business Sustainability and Growth Simplified.
Good afternoon and welcome back to our show. Evolve Brand Marketing brings this show to you every Sunday from 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. Today we're talking about turning your passion into profits. And joining me today are two lovely ladies, Eunice Lafate, owner of Lafate Gallery, and Dolores Waddell, owner of Fushions Taster's Choice. Welcome back, ladies.
Glad to be back.
Okay, great. So now let's talk a little bit about the challenges. I know that it wasn't easy getting started. Eunice, why don't you tell me a little bit about some of your challenges in getting your gallery started?
Well, the first challenge was to find a market for my product. Folk art, as distinguished from fine art, was a rarity in Delaware back in the early 90s when I started my business.
Mm-hmm.
People were more or less not appreciative or ignorant of what folk art was.
And why don't you give us some information on that?
Okay.
Give us a little background on the differences.
Folk art is created from life stories.
Okay.
So if I paint a picture of a woman, she does not necessarily have to have fingers. I round off the hands.
Mm-hmm.
But in traditional art world, that is...
Everything is very down to the very last detail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and when I came here first, my passion was to paint tropical sceneries, actually to deal with the weather.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I dealt with the winter, and I painted in the winter time.
Mm-hmm.
So I created beautiful tropical sceneries, and then I was invited to show my art, and I got feedback because, again, the figurative pieces,
Mm-hmm.
people were not accustomed to seeing people looking like
Yeah.
the figures that I drew.
Well, what's good about that, I think, is it kind of embodies everybody. It's not one person. It's not one
Exactly.
woman who has these features. It's every woman in that case. If that
But
would-
I persevered, so I kept on going to shows, showing the work,
Mhm.
and then finally I went to the Brandywine Arts Festival. And the woman who had set me up in business, she said, take your tags off your work, walk around and look at the prices that the others are pricing their work. And I did just that.
Mhm.
That was the first time I realized the value of my work. I had a piece which was priced for like in the 300 range, and I up it to 700 sold.
Mhm.
So
And
there-
that gets to what I said in the beginning of the show. Knowing how to price your services or your products is very important. Because if you had continued to underprice,
yes.
then you may not have made as many sales because
correct.
value. Everyone, it's like you get what you pay for. So that value is very, very
So
key.
those who purchased my work in the early 90s, they got them very cheap in the $100 range. But now I have pieces priced at $10,000.
Great, congratulations! I'm so happy for you.
We've come after 20 years.
And so would you say that was one of the challenges, understanding how to price?
Yes.
Was one of your
Pricing
challenges?
was one of the challenges. And then finding the right audience
Okay.
to purchase the work.
And do you know now who that audience is?
Yes, I know where my audience is right now.
That's great. And so these are people that typically would come to showings or
Well, most of my sales were done when MBNA, that
Okay.
bank,
Yeah.
very popular,
Mhm.
was into their clientele was very strong.
Mhm.
And actually, they were encouraged to go to nonprofit fundraisers and spend money.
okay.
So one of my first
Interesting.
exhibitions with the Ronald McDonald House, I sold a piece for $3,000.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So getting that kind of support for the artist community from the corporations
Was
is
very
key.
helpful.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know.
And then I kept on painting and building up my inventory because that was not my income. It was
Mhm.
just on the side.
Yeah.
And the business thrived over the years, and the inventory grew and grew and grew until now it is out of proportion. It's
So
just
are
a
you-
vast inventory now?
So are your works you're selling during these particular in-person showing types of
Unfortunately,
events?
the climate for art now is very slow.
Mhm.
The market is very soft. So I am sitting on vast amount of inventory, but the sales are not there, not at this time.
And so are people able to purchase your items from your website?
Yes, they can purchase from my website.
And you can give
And
that to us.
That website is www.lafategallery.com.
And spell it out, Lafate.
That's LAFATE LafateGallery.com.
That's great. So far we're talking about finding your audience as being a challenge initially, and then also pricing, knowing how to price your
Knowing
product.
how to price.
Very good. Okay, we're turning to you now, Dolores. Tell me about some of your challenges, which are probably like top of mind right now because you're so new and getting started.
Right. As being so new and getting started, some of the challenges, of course, is getting the word out about my business. Not only do I provide products and services, my oils and vinegars, to your general consumers, but it's also available for businesses. So if a business is looking for that competitive advantage, a little something extra to sprinkle on their sandwich that the next sandwich shop is not offering, it's also available. As a new startup, I am the one-woman show, so I'm wearing multiple hats.
Okay. So that means the marketing that you're doing, you haven't yet outsourced that. You're doing that yourself.
I am doing everything myself. And I know one of the challenges when you open up a business, they say you cannot do it all.
Right.
So that's definitely one of the issues. It's a one-person show, and I am doing everything.
Well, and you definitely need to have that commitment. That's why that is so important in the beginning. Your passion has to lead to a commitment because it's going to take. When I started my first company, I worked for 4 years straight, 7 days a week, 12 to 16 hours a day.
Yes.
And that's what people don't see. They don't see that particular part of your investment in the business because they see you once you've made it, quote unquote, made it, and you have cars and houses and furs and all these other things. And they're like, oh, you're so lucky. You're in your own business. Well, no, you don't understand. I paid dues for quite a long time to get to this point.
Yes, I have no paycheck.
You're right. And without pay, you're absolutely right.
Yes,
because at that point, I also had employees. So I would pay them, but that didn't mean that I was going to yet be able to take a paycheck. So, that's where, your living standards, you may need to lower them a little bit or maybe budget yourself a little bit better because it's going to take a while before you can get to that point, unless somehow you're capitalized by some outside resources. And that's what I wanted to ask you about. What kind of resources did you find helpful, if any, in getting started, both of you?
Well, with myself, I actually financed it myself starting out. I did not intend to have that as my full-time job. It was a business that I started up and I was working. I'm no longer working that other job. So the funding side of it, everything I am looking at again to reconsider how to go forward with the funding and the marketing and just moving the product line forward. I mean, a lot of individuals are aware of my product line. The challenge is getting the word out to individuals so that they can change their eating habits and understanding that these are healthy items and it makes food taste good.
So are you holding classes?
I do. I do. When you come into the shop, I teach individuals how to taste olive oil because there is an art to tasting olive oil.
Oh, you just
There
don't
sure
you don't
is.
take a swig?
No, you do not. You take a slurp.
A little
I say
slurp.
it is not cute. But the beauty of olive oil is you want to be able to taste it, feel it. You should have a little burn down the back of your throat when you're swallowing it.
Really?
That's the peppery, that's the polyphenols, that's the antioxidants, which means it is fresh. And you should also be able to smell it. So I teach you how to taste an olive oil, and the name of the store is Fushions, Taster's Choice, because everyone has a different palate, different taste. So what's appealing to you, Carolyn, is different to myself and also to Eunice. So I try to find something that is appealing to everyone and how they cook.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. It's like wine.
Yeah.
It is. It is. And I have to control individuals where I say this is not wine and it is not some other things that you just throw back.
Yeah. So wow. And can you talk about some of the resources?
Finances.
Yes. Finances.
I've always had a job. I financed the business from my income. And probably that was a mistake because I poured a lot of my money into the business, built up a vast inventory. And then when I retired, I said that would be my nest egg. But unfortunately, it's not hatching at this time. However, I had a very good business manager who worked with me part-time. And I was able to get some grants from the Division of the Arts. I received a fellowship in 2004 for $5,000, and the goal was to create more work with that. So I created 18 pieces that year alone. Again, building up the inventory.
And do you have like an apprentice or someone who works? Have you ever been able to hire additional people to support what you're doing, or?
Yes, part-time.
Part-time, yeah. And so now, do you have? Is it a brick and mortar gallery? Is it actually a location that we can go to, or is it all online?
Well, it's home-based.
It's a home-based,
And
okay,
it's by
business.
appointment.
Okay.
And my telephone number for my home business is area code 302-656-6786.
Okay. And do you have a number you gave? Did I give you a website? No, we didn't do your website yet. Let's get your contact
My
information.
website is www.fusionstasterschoice.com, and that is FUSIONSTASTERSCHOICE.com. And my phone number is 302-478-1409.
So talk to me a little bit about some of the other health benefits. We talked about it being a healthy, the oils themselves being healthy for you.
Yes.
Is that same also for the vinegars?
It is. I
Okay.
actually have a lot of customers who have cancer, and my products, they're based on the hemisphere and based on when they were crushed. So the fresher the product is, the higher the chemistry and the health benefits are. So with that, I have very high polyphenol products, and I have some customers that come in that I've actually named some things after a customer. So he has prostate cancer, and I had a pomegranate quince balsamic vinegar and a organic barnier, which is a very robust olive oil. I sell them separately, but I mix them together so you can use them individually, your olive oils, and you can use your balsamic vinegars individually, and you can combine them together. So I call that to Gary because it had the highest polyphenol count. And
Does Gary know?
yes, he
has
does.
his own product name?
He does, and I have a junior. He's actually a very good customer. But the health benefits, yeah, I mean, it reduces your bad cholesterol, the LDL, the olive oil, your blood pressure, helps lower that. It's a cancer prevention. The high antioxidants, which I just mentioned, your polyphenols. It can increase your cognitive function, weight control. And myself, those are some of the things that I utilize to maintain my weight and to lose it. It's also good with arthritis, pain, and management. And then the health benefits on the balsamic vinegar side, it increases your heart health, reduces your blood pressure. It's also a cancer prevention. It slows the aging process, increase your vascular health, and also, again, the high antioxidants. So when people come in and I teach them how to taste it, I'm deemed the mixologist because I show them the different combinations and how they can utilize it. I will get you oiled. So that way you are sure to feel good and also enjoy what you're eating now.
Wow. So did you, in terms of the education piece, did you have to get some kind of formal education to understand this?
I don't have a formal education in cooking or olive oil, but I have been certified as to how to distinguish olive oil in tasting. I mean, my supplier is out of California, and they do have great shows where we're introduced to the different product lines. And one of my product lines is an ultra premium extra virgin olive oil because the majority of the olive oil industry is not necessarily regulated.
Okay.
And what I have in my store is traceable from tree to root to bottle because it tells you where it was crushed at. You can see it, taste it, see all the components, and I bottle that product for you right in the store.
Wow.
So a lot
Sounds
of
like
customers.
tested
Sounds
that.
like fun.
Yes.
I may have
need
to
to go and
follow you.
replenish
I was
some.
going to say I may need to
Yes.
follow you there after the show. This is really fascinating.
It is.
And you know what? You can hear the passion in your voice when
Of
you're talking
course.
about this.
And people will come in and they'll ask me, well, am I your first customer? I'm like, why? Because I'm excited. They're like, yeah. I said, no. That's one of the reasons why I got into this product line because I truly believe in the product.
Yeah.
The quality is exceptional. It's good. It's healthy. And I am seeing the health benefits from my customers who come in excited. Right. Oh, I've lost weight because now I'm enjoying fruits and vegetables and salads and getting their young adults, the tweens, to actually eat healthy food now because, I mean, the
flavoring.
I have the flavors from strawberry to chocolate all the way across the line.
Wait a
now.
second. Olive oil and strawberry?
My balsamic vinegar is
Yeah, I love that.
strawberry,
That's my
it's
favorite.
chocolate, it's apple, it's
yeah.
amazing. It's amazing.
And the blackberry.
Yes,
Sounds-
blackberry ginger, honey ginger,
Yeah.
black currant. They're your flavors that you don't typically find in the supermarket.
And you know what's interesting about that is a lot of the other things that you've just talked about in terms of the flavorings have their own healthful properties.
Exactly.
The ginger in terms of its ability, antiseptic and antioxidant and that
Yes,
kind of
the
thing.
berries and the
berries
yes.
also. Mm-hmm.
Talking about benefits,
Yes.
I want to zero into the arts or using the art with people because it's healing. I recall working at Elwyn, and it was in June, and it was very hot, and this woman came in a winter coat, and she was disabled more or less. And I was filling out the paperwork with her, and she said, I don't even know why I'm alive. And we talked, and I changed the subject,
Yeah.
and I brought her to the point where I told her about a piece I done called Life Has a Bright Side, Dark Side, Peaks and Valleys, but life is what you make it. Always look on the bright side and aim for the peak. And she said, you're an artist? I'm an artist too. And the following day, she brought a portfolio and shared with the group. And by the end of the week, you could see the transformation.
Wow.
She had shed that heavy winter coat,
Yes.
which was hot summer,
Yeah.
and she was just...
She was going into this shell
Yes.
where she was going actually to die.
Yes,
It
and I
sounds like, yeah.
working on the east side of Wilmington when my son was growing up, I didn't want him to run the streets. So I would engage him with the arts and said, Mom, I want to go play with my friends. I said, okay, bring them over. Then I used my basement as a safe haven and taught them to paint.
That's
and during
wonderful.
that time, they were focused. They still went to play, but they were focused on their studies, and they all graduated from college and are leading productive lives.
God bless you. God bless both
And that's
of you.
why I produced a documentary titled Arts as Prevention.
Yes, and that's something that's coming up. Actually, tell us a little bit about that.
The documentary, as I said, was based on real life experience working with my son and his friends and trying to keep them focused. And working in all the various sectors that I worked, I drew experiences to show how the arts could be used to transform people's lives. And then with the 20 retrospective, I said I must do this documentary, and I had it produced.
And so when is it going to be released?
It's going to be premiered the first Friday in April. That is 4/3/14, April the 3rd. And it's going to be premiered theatre, and well, I'm yet to finalize the arrangement. And then as a follow-up, I have an art show that evening, the Friday evening after the
film.
Yes,
the
and
premiere.
it's going to be at the Grand Opera.
Oh, wonderful.
And I'll be there from April all the way through end of May
Very, very good.
with my work.
So if anyone wants information about that, again, tell them how they can get in touch with
They
you.
can go to my website, www.lafategallery.com.
That's
Or they could
perfect.
call me at 302-656-6786.
So let's talk about some of the don't do's. What should we not do? What mistakes have you learned from that you might want to share to some of our listening audience? Either one of you.
My first tip, do not over inventory. Don't
Right.
create too much work, because as I said, I had no need to sell the work. So I kept on building that inventory. And then at the time when I'm not working now, I'm retired, I'm stuck with a vast,
Inventory.
yes.
That's good. That's one of my tips, so I don't have to say that later. You have to build demand before you build your inventory, and that would be key also for you, Dolores, with your oils and your vinegar. Is that something that you would also attest to?
That is very true. Of course, you need to understand what the consumers want and provide them what they want, not necessarily because you might like it. You have to find a happy medium and something that's appealing to everyone.
And so is that we need a couple more don't do's. There's got to be more of those. It's like, oh, I wish I didn't do that.
Another one, I use my credit card. I have a credit card for the business. And I charge all my expenses to that credit card, which I can write them off because I do have a business license. But again, be careful of using that credit card.
You've mentioned a couple of times, having the business license. It's really important to make sure that your business is official and formalized within the state and city that you're operating in.
True.
And that doesn't matter if you have a brick and mortar establishment where you have, a storefront or what have you, or if you're just a service or an individual working, from your home, you still need to formalize the business. And that's really key because of liability issues. There are just so many things, and your taxes and all of that.
Business and insurance.
And
then at the point where I decided I'm going to retire, I realized that I'd built up a vast amount on my credit card. I had to use my own funds so that I won't go into retirement with a big debt to pay off the credit card debt, which was on the business.
So don't finance your business on your credit cards.
I had a credit card for the business, but just
right.
be careful.
Yeah, be careful. Well, what would you add to that?
The financing is very important.
Yeah.
Even though I have that passion, you might have that passion for the business. Your challenge is already enough putting your business plan into play, making sure your target audience and everything is in place and you're in the right spot.
Location.
Right. Location
Yes.
really is
Location.
everything. But when it comes to financing, everyone is not operating on the same timeline that you're operating on. Now, I
Right.
want all of my inventory gone as of yesterday, so I can bring in the next batch, but it does not necessarily work that way. So you really have to be prepared for the unknown. A perfect example is right now, I have a product that the consumers want, but the weather has not been cooperative. So with having a brick and mortar, now the challenge is, people can't even get out of their homes because the electricity is off. So those things that you would say this is a perfectly good day for sales is not necessarily. So a recovery plan.
Yeah.
You definitely need a recovery plan. So one of the things that I've done in that place is the fact that every day everyone is not walking into my store, but what I do offer are tasting events. So therefore, if you've never gone to an olive oil tasting center, vinegar store as I'm offering, and you're not sure how to cook with it, then you can book up to 6 to 24 individuals. Come in, I'll close the place down for you and your friends, and I will teach you how to taste the olive oils and vinegars, as well as provide you food samplings with those different combinations in recipes. So therefore, when you leave with your purchases, you can go home and immediately start utilizing them.
It's fantastic. And so how many of these events have you had since you've opened up?
I have about one a month, and actually it's also open to bridal showers. You have individuals coming in and you don't know what to do with them. Friends, family, come on, bring them in. This next Saturday coming up, I actually have a birthday party.
Wow.
So there's
a
a
good
lot
idea.
of different events that if you're just looking for a girls' night out, work after work crew, couples before you go out to a main dinner or the movies, stop on by and learn something about healthy cooking and eating.
That's fantastic. Tell them how to reach you again.
I can be reached at 302-478-1409, and my website is www.fusionstasterschoice.com, FUSIONSTASTERSCHOICE.com, and just shoot me an email to at info@fusionstasterschoice.com with any questions.
We're going to take another quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with our wonderful ladies who have turned their passion into profits.
Welcome to Wilmington, Delaware. At Preservation Initiatives, we bring beautiful lofts to you. The recently renovated lofts at 400 Market Street are a must-see. A part of registered National Historic District. Featuring spacious floor plans, custom glass windows, solid surface countertops, stainless steel appliances, custom lighting, wood flooring, large closets, pocket doors, sunny interiors, high ceilings plus beautifully detailed trim molding. Enjoy the sights, sounds, and tastes of Market Street. Just a short walk from the Wilmington riverfront, featuring family-friendly places to enjoy, with plenty of restaurants, entertainment, and other small-town conveniences. Wilmington, Delaware, in the middle of it all. Reserve today. Preservation Initiatives, urban revitalization through historic preservation.
Preservation Initiatives is a wonderful, wonderful gem that we have here in the city of Wilmington. Don McGinley, its founder, has been developing historic properties since 1979. He's had properties in Boston, Miami, Philly, and now Wilmington. If you want to contact preservation initiatives in reference to any of the residential or commercial properties, please call them at 302-543-7565. That's 302-543-7565.
You can't. Do those magic words motivate you? Has anyone ever told you that you can't? You can't be an entrepreneur. You can't be a business owner. You don't have what it takes. How many successful businesses started without incorporating? I'm John Williams, the president of Inc. Now. For 39 years, Inc. Now has been incorporating first-time entrepreneurs just like you. Over 15,000 companies, from mom and pop businesses to worldwide enterprises. IncNow.com, based in Delaware, can have you incorporated in only a few minutes for $298. Inc. Now makes starting your LLC easy. Learn more about what Inc. Now can do for you. On the web, visit incnow.com. That's incnow.com. What do you have to lose? If you think you can't be an entrepreneur, then don't. I'm here to tell you, you can. Plant a seed. Inc. Now. Dreamers wanted.
Business owners, executives, and entrepreneurs, get your pen and paper ready and tune in Sundays at 1 p.m. for Evolution Strategies, Business Sustainability and Growth Simplified. You must evolve to meet the challenges of today's marketplace. This is the only show in the Philly metro area that walks you step by step through success factors that make or break your brand. Want some free advice? Call in Sundays at 1 p.m. to talk to your host, Carolyn Lighty, and a panel of experts for Evolution Strategies, Business Sustainability and Growth Simplified.
Welcome back. We're talking about turning your passion into profits. Before we continue our conversation with these lovely ladies, I want to make a couple of announcements about some things that are going on in downtown Wilmington that are fantastic for businesses. We've got some great news. The Wilmington Trolley now connects downtown Wilmington and the riverfront. It'll be running every 20 minutes from convenient locations between the hours of 10:45 a.m. and 10:45 p.m. And it only costs $1 each way. The improved route and lower fare is designed to give greater mobility to residents, visitors, and downtown workers. With the ability to move easily around downtown and the riverfront without having to drive and find a parking space, we're hoping that people will be able to take in and enjoy our great restaurants, entertainment venues, historic, cultural, and art attractions. Hopefully you'll be able to catch Ms. Lafate and her new opening on that trolley ride. You'll be able to shop at the local businesses. So this is, again, just one of the other things that are happening downtown to increase mobility and to improve the image of what some folks still feel about our downtown. So there's also going to be a kickoff of that. Join us at the DART Trolley Kickoff this Monday, February 10th at 11 a.m. in Rodney Square in front of the Caesar Rodney statue. If you want more information about the new trolley route, you can visit www.dartfirststate.com or go to downtownvisions.org. Another important announcement, something that I'm really excited about, and something that perhaps Ms. Lafate, you should also get involved with, is I think you probably noticed if you've been visiting downtown that there are murals that have been installed in the vacant storefronts. That the first ones went up in the 800 block, and those were spearheaded by Master Corporal Malcolm Stoddard for the Wilmington Police Department. In that particular project in the 800 block, he partnered with Bancroft Elementary, Stubbs Elementary, and Coomba Academy. And the students basically painted them these wonderful pictures that you see in those vacant buildings. Well, next, Officer Stoddard turned his sights to the 400 block and partnered with Downtown Visions and the Creative Factory to install brightly colored abstract designs in those vacant storefronts. So this, again, is one part of the beautification of downtown and kind of changing the perception. This is something that a lot of businesses and companies and cities do around the country to improve quality of life and deter crime by improving the physical environment of the particular vacant storefront area. There's going to be a press conference about all of those steps to beautify the downtown and bring people back downtown on February 19th at 11:30 a.m. It's going to be in the 400 block, where I also live, on the second floor, on that brightly painted building with the yellow and the red. I live on the second floor there, so I'll be attending that event as well. So everybody, we're really looking forward to having you turn out for these types of events and to be a part of what's taking place in terms of transforming downtown and making it a better place to live, work, and play. Back to our ladies, though. You know, one question that I wanted to ask you ladies is, how important is it to have family and friends support you when you do this?
It is so very important.
Okay.
My husband and my son, my husband and our son, they were my greatest fans when I started. And through the 20 years, they have supported me tremendously. I couldn't have done it without them.
And what does that support entail? I mean, when you're frustrated,
Well,
you
first they started to critique me, and they
Okay.
were pretty harsh.
Okay.
They would criticize the way I was painting the images, and I did paint it. I recall signing it, and my son said, "Mom, it's not finished." And he was getting ready to cry that I had signed it. And he looked at the painting, and I said, "What is wrong with it? Why you think it's not finished?" He said, "How come the lady has only one eye?" I said, "Boy, Mom only needs one eye to see what a child is doing." So we have had great moments.
I love that. That is so cute. Okay. And Dolores, what about the support mechanism or environment that you have?
It is so very important. I have, as I stated earlier, I am the one-woman show, so I have a volunteer staff of friends and family
Wow.
who have been with me, and we videotaped everything as it was going on with the brick and mortar, so the whole building process of it. And my brother was very instrumental. Two of them, they're in Maryland, and they were driving up every day, every weekend. Some friends in Pennsylvania, and actually some of my ex-students too. They have been very instrumental in doing that volunteer handiwork as we watch YouTube how to lay floors and
Wow.
yeah, things like that, and painting and putting furniture together, and just even coming out and learning the product line and helping me sell my products. So you need the support of family and friends and volunteers. I've even met some of my customers who have stepped up to the plate and are my volunteer workers also. So without the support of your family and friends, it's real difficult. Moral, financial, mental, just the overall support that you needed. So it's very important.
That is so
On the
great.
financial side, my first patrons were my immediate family members. They purchased my original pieces. Actually, I'm so happy they did, because at the time they were going very cheap. So we keep it in the family. Those pieces are still in the family.
So what other support and resources are you feeling that you need right now? I'll start with
I
you,
need
Eunice.
outlet to, for example, I took down yesterday 41 pieces of work from the Blue Ball Barn from my event in October. And those are back in my house. I'm looking space to hang those pieces on a long-term basis.
Now,
I can't afford to rent gallery space.
right, and I was going to ask you if you've ever considered getting, an actual brick and mortar gallery.
It was my goal. Once I liquidate some of the asset that I have,
You would consider.
I definitely will.
Even as a
consider.
co-op, there are so many artsy people here. I don't know if you've ever considered, going in with maybe two or
Yeah,
three
we have
others.
talked about that, and that's still in the planning
Something in the
phase.
planning
But
phase.
I definitely need to get the art from my house.
It has to be visible,
Yeah, it
otherwise it's going to just stay there. So you definitely
Yes.
have to keep it visible. And so at the Blue Ball, what is it called? The Blue
Blue
Ball
Ball Barn.
Barn. And I've passed it. I've never been there before. But what was
They
that event
sponsored
like?
that
Okay.
support was phenomenal. They sponsored the 20-year retrospective, paid every dime for all the exhibition space for 3 months, all the food, the music. They advertised it across the nation. And I was able to invite the Consul General of the Jamaican Embassy in New York. He came down to the opening reception.
Very nice.
So, and they wrote a grant, so I would be paid a stipend for the gallery talks. Because
Okay.
every month I went in and did a talk
Okay.
about the work and show my documentary.
And were people able to? Were you getting a good turnout? Were people interested?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
more so among the youth, which is my target
Yes.
group.
Yes.
In the heart of the winter, I had like 27 coming out when it's snowing on a Saturday morning.
Wow.
And they wrote rave reviews, some students.
That
they
is
did
so
journals
wonderful.
on the documentary, and they were really into what the arts can do.
Interesting. That is very, very good. Great success. Congratulations on that. Are you then getting media coverage for those types of things? Are you getting
Oh, yes,
write-ups and all
definitely.
that? Okay.
And I do have a program titled Folk Artist Culture, that is listed with the Delaware Humanities Forum Speakers Bureau. So if an organization invites me to come in, they don't pay me. The forum pays me.
you. Okay, very good. So you're doing some things to keep your hands out there.
Yeah, and one
some irons in the fire.
I have a program called The Art of Charity.
Okay.
And the way this works, Charity Pays, is that if an organization is having a fundraiser and they invite me to come in and set up, I'll donate up to 30% of the sale to that organization.
So that's good for when they're having auctions and all of
Yes.
that as a way of raising money.
Exactly.
Very good. And maybe marketing that even more. I haven't really looked at your website in any detail, but being able to help you with that, I would like to work with you afterwards
I
and try to
truly
help you get some
appreciate
more
that.
exposure.
Yes.
Well, that's phenomenal. Okay, Dolores. So then, you chose the location that you're at for what made you go to that particular storefront area?
Just based on the demographics, as I was putting my business plan together and the research, the majority of the individuals, I actually live in Newark, more of a college town. So again, doing the research and preparing to open up a brick and mortar, that was not necessarily the best location.
Target audience. Yeah.
Right, but my target audience is definitely in that area. It's also easily accessible. You can get there by way of car, bus. It's,
So when you look at the demographics or the profile of your dream customer, who is that? Who is that person? The demographics are anyone who is looking to live a healthier lifestyle. It's primarily the women who do the shopping, but what I've uncovered, a lot of my customers that come in, it's the males who are doing the cooking. Yeah.
And there are some great chefs out there.
I need to find one of those. Just putting the word out on the air. Go ahead.
Well, that's it. So what the perceived expectation is, it's really been flipped around. But it's primarily the women that are doing the shopping, but the men are doing the cooking. It's people who are health conscious and know the benefits. Now, there's a lot of arguments that can go on. Is it healthy? Is it not healthy? Well, anything in moderation, and some things are better than other things. What I'm really looking forward to is the education side of it, because a lot of individuals still are not sure of the health benefits. So some of the exposure I am looking for are restaurants that are willing to take on my product line and use it and advertise on that side of it, or just use it for their own benefits. And then I'm also looking to come in, like on Women's Day and the different functions in the churches, to do lessons on the health benefits and how to use it, and to get away from some of the lard and the fat and the other things that individuals are actually still using.
Yeah, which is amazing to me, because you see on television every day, you see on the internet, you know that those things are not helpful, and that there are other choices out there. They may not know that olive oil is a choice.
Exactly.
But it's great that you'll be able to educate them on that, and that's fantastic.
I want to say something about education. On the art side, educating people to collect art, because a lot of people think that, well, it's too expensive, but the art never depreciates. It appreciates over the years. So, for example, there was one piece very popular titled The Melting Pot versus the Salad Bowl that was sold for $3,000 in 1998. That was recently appraised for about $30,000 because a copy of it is in the art collection of President Clinton's library. And it did receive a lot of national notoriety.
See, that's
so I'm encouraging people to collect art. I even have a payment plan. You put a deposit of $30 and give you up to 5 months to pay off for the piece. Because I really, wonderful. Especially African Americans, most of my work are owned by the Caucasian population. And I'm not complaining, but I would very much like African Americans to realize that art is investment. That you can invest in art.
Absolutely.
And those who can afford it should try to own an original piece of art.
I agree with you 100% on that. And I had some pieces which are now still in Miami, where most of my things are in storage, and I had been considering to sell them, but maybe I'll hold on to them and move them up here with me. Well, that's going to do it for our show today, ladies. I think we could go on and talk about it, because you guys are still very passionate about what you're passionate about, and you're also, have your businesses running, and they seem like they're successful. You for 20 years, you for 2 months, but I guarantee that you're going to keep going. And even shows like this will help. I would like to help you as well to reach out and do some more collaboration with businesses where you can get that education piece going and offer them your products to use in their restaurants as well. But in the meantime, let's say that's going to do it for this edition of Evolution Strategies. We hope that we were able to provide you with information and resources that will help you start, grow, and sustain your business. If you want to stay connected to what's happening in our local business economy, just text Help My Biz. That's HELP, my, MYBIZ, to 22828 to join our VIP email